Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you are. Um, Thank you for joining us today for our Made to Manage user group. We try to do them twice a year. And I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Jim Castellano so we can get started.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. For some of you that are already on the East Coast or even further away, I'm Jim Castellano, the president owner of PeopleSense. Want to thank you so much for joining us today for our Made to Manage user group. We had our user group meeting yesterday for the Intuitive group. We had some customers from the Made to Manage come over there to see some of the third-party vendors and software that we work with. So I want to thank the partners that are on also for today that will be coming in and out. We have a lot of our consultants that will be on here today also. If you have questions, just so everybody knows, so this is our go-to webinar, and they change it up for us, we saw yesterday. So it's a little different how we're used to it. So we do apologize. So for what I see is down in the left-hand corner, we have a little hand that you can raise your hand, ask questions. So please do throughout the day, or at least the 2 hours, if you have questions. If you want to follow up with any of our personnel, we will be showing you the emails and phone numbers of them today too. So I'll get started. So Jess, can you go to the next slide? So for some of you who have not been on here before, so I'll just give you a little brief history of PeopleSense. So I founded the company in 2003. So we've been around for our 23 years now. As of March. So I thank my staff, my our partners, everybody who's been with us and helping us through all the years. So I can't thank them enough. Our core products when I first got started was human resource and payroll. I was a partner with Made to Manage, and eventually then with the Intuitive people going through Consona, and then eventually with Aptine. And so we started our Made to Manage and our Intuitive divisions, which is another sister company of Made to Manage, around 13 years ago. We currently have 10 Made to Manage consultants, and we're getting ready to have an 11th one come on with us. We also work with other software we do not sell Made to Manage or Intuitive. We help customers. Any of you on here today that are thinking maybe, hey, I might want to look at a different software, a ERP software, we now represent Acumatica. And we've already moved over 12 customers over to Acumatica, which is fantastic. We do it in a timely manner too, in 6 months normally or less, hopefully. We also work with time and attendance software and document management software. We have customers, as you can see, in 42 states and in Canada. We have over 20 consultants between the Made to Manage side and the Intuitive side nationwide. And we have way over 250 years of combined experience for people who need help with the Made to Manage or the Intuitive software. Jess, next screen. Okay. So give you a little bit of background about our Made to Manage ERP. This will have to be updated soon because we're bringing on another Made to Manage. Now, out of our Made to Manage consultants, out of the 10/11 of them, only 2 of them have not worked at Made to Manage. And if we can see everyone here, 2 of the people here that have not is Christine, who is a CPA that works with our Made to Manage side and the Acumatica side. And we have Steve Murtha. Steve Murtha was a partner for a long time doing different things and wrote software, but he's also a consultant too for us on the Made to Manage side. We also have Gary Cerny is my VP on the Intuitive side. He was with us yesterday doing our Intuitive webinar that went really well. And then we have Jim Cooey. Jim Cooey, at least say hello to everyone. Jim, are you there? He's on mute.
Yeah, thanks, Jim.
No problem.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming up today.
Yeah, most of you know Jimmy. He's reached out to all of you. If you haven't, please reach out to him after this webinar. Talk to him, say hello, and he'll get you information. If there's anything that you need, please let us know. Any questions you have today, too, you can raise your hand and say, hey, Jimmy, I need to get answers on this. He'll get on that right away. Also, we have, as you can see, we have Matt Herbert, the M2M guru. We have Ken Van Seven. Most of you worked with Ken and Susan on here. So I thank Ken and Susan. They're here today also. And also we have, as we can see, Connie Lopez. Connie will be doing one of our sessions today. So thank you, Connie. I love having you on with us. And then we also have Ray Frieberhauser. Ray, who likes to catch, see, we always love his big picture of the big fish. And then we have Hans. A lot of you have worked with Hans. Doug, who helps on both intuitive side and the made-to-manage side with programming. And then we have Glenn Toby. Glenn is not on here today, either is Steve. But we do have a lot of our consultants that will be on today. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand and let us know. Jess, next. So we also have additional products team that we have here at PeopleSense that help us on our ERP side, if that's in regards with intuitive or made to manage. So we have people who help out with the staff. So as all of you have heard earlier today, I'll give her kudos. So I have to thank Jess for putting all this together. We and the team planned this probably 2 to 3 months out. So it takes a lot of planning for us. So I do ask all of you, the customers, if you have other ideas, other topics that you would like, things like that, we always ask, please let us know. Send us an email. Tell us what you'd like to see in the next user group meeting. We try to do the next one is probably going to be done in October. We start planning that probably in July. So please let us know. But Jessica, Jess, please, thank you very much for all the hard work that you do.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
And then we also have other people like Jim McCormick's on. If any of you want to know anything about the Acumatica software, if you'd like to see a demo, if you'd like to do a discovery call to see if it's right for you, that is Jim. Jim's on. Hello, Jim. I know you're there.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. And if any questions on Acumatica, let me know.
You
Thanks,
can
Jim.
also contact Jim if you have questions about your HR and time systems as well.
Yes. So if you're thinking about switching a human resource or payroll system, if you want more integration with your made to manage or eventually Acumatica, things like that, Jim, please call Jim or email him or talk to Jim Cooey and he can get you a hold of Jim McCormick. Then we have Sam Melgosa. Sam has probably reached out to a lot of you. Sam works here in the office. I can't thank Sam enough. He's always reaching out to our customers base and so on. Then we have Deep, who works with us on our M-File side. That's our document management side, and ERP doing reports and so on. And then a special kudos out to Joseph. Joseph's on today. Joseph, a lot of you know him. He's been working on a lot of reports, a lot of different things that you need with the made to manage and with the report writers and stuff like that. So Joseph, I can't thank you enough. Thank you for all your hard work. And we also have Brendan James. He's not on right now. And that's on our M-File side. That's with our document management. So thank you, everybody, on that. Jess, I'll move over. They only give me a couple minutes. So on our partners, here's a lot of our partners. So we have Avalara, who does our sales tax. So any of you who want to do sales tax, we've already come up with the integrations for intuitive and made to manage. Please let us know. We also have Mindsight. If any of you are thinking about hosting your own software in the cloud and you want to still own it, we can do that. That's our partner that does that. We have credit card processing. Vertance is our Steve Murtha, who does that. Mobile Manage, being able to do a lot of your shipments and everything, being able to use your phone and tablets, things like that. And we have a lot of our other products here. So if there's any questions that you have, please reach out to Jess or Jimmy Cooey, and he can get you more information on that. Jess, I'll switch over. There we go. Here's our schedule for today. So we are starting 10 minutes ago. As you can, I got 5 more minutes. So we started at 11 o'clock. Here's our intros. Then we'll go into working with Ray Frieberhauser with tips and tricks. Ray does an amazing job. Most of you are out here, a lot of you are out here to see Ray today. Then we have Connie Lopez. And then we have Joseph England working on our PrintBoss. And then we'll have questions and answers. Bring out any questions you have. So write them down. So even if it's about questions about your own made to manage, things like that you might have questions about today, bring them up. We have Ken Van Severen and Ray and Susan on here, Susan Edwards. So please ask any of those questions. Down below, we have Jim Cooey. That is your account manager. So please write his email down. Also, you have his cell number on there. Jimmy likes when all of you call him at 3 o'clock in the morning. He says, he enjoys that, being woken up and then being able to answer your questions right away for all of you. So just letting all of you know. Is that a correct statement, Jim? I think. He's not answering. But then, Jess, I'll have you go to the next slide. So I always do this every thing. We wouldn't be where we are today with over 280 made to manage customers that we have here at PeopleSense if it wasn't for AppTeam. For AppTeam, I think pushing a lot of their customers away with the support that they have lacked in the past. I think 5 years or so have gotten worse and worse. So a lot of customers have come over to us. So I do thank all of you for being a customer of PeopleSense. And I can't thank my staff enough for all the hard work that they do. So I thank everybody on here and the staff that isn't on here. So thank you so much. Also, before we move on to contact us, find contact information. Please take a snapshot of the screen. This will also be recorded, and you can come out to our website and watch the recording later. It takes Jess probably a couple days just to sparse out some of the stuff and then have that video up on the website. But you can always go out to our website, grab the information, and watch the video again. If you do have any questions or have any issues that you need help with, we also have our help desk on our website that you can always go to, put a work ticket in, and we normally answer, I would say, and I think all of you would agree, we normally answer within the hour. If you need something of emergency, you can always call the office. It's on every website page that we have out there. So you can always call the office and we'd get back to you, hopefully, right away. We'll answer here and then hopefully take care of your issues. And if there's anything that you ever need, you guys can always, the customers can always call me here at the office directly. I am available. So I thank you again. And Jess, I will push it back over to you. And I thank you, anybody. And if you have any questions right now, please raise your hand. If not, we will get started.
Yeah. So thank you, Jim. And we will go ahead and start everybody's favorite topic if Ray is ready to dive into his tips and tricks.
Yes, I am.
Alrighty.
I need you to let me share.
There you go. You should be getting your button.
And everyone have a little patience with us today. We learned yesterday with my intuitive staff that the buttons are a little different for us today. So without everyone.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yes.
I noticed that.
Sorry, Ray.
All right. Can you guys hear me, number one?
Yes.
Number two, can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, let's get started then. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Ray. My last name is Freebertshauser, so you just leave it at Ray, and it's a lot easier that way. I've been a made to manage consultant for many years now. Not only that, but I was a made to manage customer really early on prior to becoming an employee of made to manage, Consona, AppTeam, and now PeopleSense. So it's a little bit of background about me, what I've done, and I'm going to jump right in here. I'm not going to beat you up with PowerPoints, not one of my favorite things to do. I think it's a lot easier to see it as we explore it. So we had a few things, some shortcuts, some favorites, some explorers, lookups, things like that. We'll touch base on a lot of these as we go through. So for example, I'm going to show you some things like favorite screens, keyboard shortcuts, the locator, the explorer, things of that nature. Some people many times say, geez, nobody ever told me that. So I'm going to see if we can maybe throw some things out there that you may not be aware of. So jump right in here. There are keyboard shortcuts, and this is the latest in the 7 version of Made to Manage. There were some changes. If you recall, we used to have a modify button, and that was something that was required in previous versions, namely at 6.0 and back. That's been done away with because we now run in .NET. So if you want, take a screenshot of this. If you're using change status all the time, you can just run an F5 if you want to. And that'll help you, get back to the keyboard if you're not a mouse person. So there's options here. Again, there's shifts, alts, and controls, and each one of them do a different thing. So something a lot of people don't know, some people like to use their keyboard. I thought I'd throw this up here just for that reason. We'll take a look at some other things like business analytics and overviews. There's a BOM reporter, FedEx interface, cross-reference. So a lot of these we can't show you right up front because we don't have a certain connectivity, but we'll touch on them and talk on them briefly. There's also some overlooked tools many people don't realize that are even out there. And those could be the margin analyzer. For those of you that have the shop floor manager product, there are some other screens in there that I'll show you that may be of value. Job mass status change was added as a function to go in and be able to do mass status changes. We can take a look at that. CRM functionality, although it's quite limited, there are some tools in there that may help and give you some ideas of what you might be able to do in terms of to-dos or reminders and things of that nature. And there's a lot more things out there that we can touch on if we want to. For example, when we talked about one of them, it was a margin analyzer. This is a screenshot of it, and I'll show you the actual app so you get an idea. Shop floor manager, we have things like production analyzer in there. Some people don't know when they have shop floor manager, there's a mobile application. So there's some good tools in here, and there's some nice little tips that help you motor through this thing pretty well. Oops. On the CRM side of things, most people, not saying most people, many people have opportunity management software already associated with them in terms of CRM software they may have bought and purchased and used. There is opportunity management, there's to-do management in here, and there's available to do syncing with some email as well. Now, this is just a brief overview of some of the things, and I'm going to touch on them here for us so that we can, jump through a few different things and give you some ideas of what you can do. For those of you that have the toolbars, mine are over here on the very right side as I'm clicking through. I hope you can see those. The first one we'll touch on is your favorites toolbar. In the past, they were up here, and we had some limitations and things of that nature. Excuse me. There are screens that I have associated that I use all the time. You'll also notice it's not necessarily just screens. I can put reports on here. Well, how do we do it? Well, it's pretty simple. If you go to your transfer, many of you know that that screen and may use that already. You can just open that screen up. And let's see if we can grab something here. Makes a little bit more sense. Maybe I want to access my, I think my item master is already there, but let's take a look. So I can launch the item master right there. But if I go back to my transfer screen again, let's go back down to my item master here. And it's here. I know it's here. And we can just jump on in. Well, let's take this one here. We use this quite a bit. This is our INX, and this is a tool that's used to set up your order parameters. Right-click on that. And when you do, you can say, I want to add this to my favorites. And once you've done that, you'll notice that that guy will be thrown over onto this screen over here. And there it is. Should you want to do it with a report, same difference, just come in here, grab a report, an RP report, let's say, grab it, right click, add to favorites. You also have the ability to launch these guys at preload at the screen startup. So for instance, you work solely with receiving all day. That's the primary screen you work with. Just right click on it and say preloaded at startup. When I launch Made to Manage, what happens? My receiving screen will appear right here. So that's one of the ways to get your favorites moved around, set it up, make you navigate a little bit easier and travel a little bit around, faster. Below that is something called the locator. Before we jump into the locator, I want to touch on this Explorer screen. Explorer is on your toolbar. Once again, we can set up favorites if we want to. But if you look on your main toolbar on the top right over here, you'll see it's set up right here as well. Now, the last Explorer I went to, I was working on sales orders. It doesn't really matter what screen you want to pursue. Perhaps I want to look at my POs. Let's throw that up there. Once we've thrown our POs up there, you'll note that we have some options. And look right over here is a little box that says favorites. Click that and this item will appear over here in your favorites for Explorer. Why do we want to look at Explorer? Well, Explorer has some very, very good, solid tools to determine what you're or how to dig and drill down into the details you may be looking for. Here's a complete list of your POs. Perhaps I don't want all of my closed POs, open POs, canceled, all that. I just want my open. So I'm going to type in OP to get it in there. And then once we're there, maybe I'm looking for my vendor who is Hutchinson, and there's Hutchinson Printing. Now, the nice thing about this is I've whittled it down quite far, and you can use the filters in here, and we'll look at those briefly here. The bottom line is I can very quickly double click on this. That's what you see, the hyperlink with the underline. That means I can go out and launch that PO directly from here. However, I may want more information. So instead of double clicking, we'll right click. And what we'll do with that is, excuse me one second, my phone is giving me trouble. We'll open this up, and then we'll be able to look at all of the detail associated with this. In other words, it's going to take that and blow that thing up for you and give you all the detail behind it. Perhaps I want to look at something different. Go back to my POs, maybe find a closed PO. Let's throw that over to the left here. And now we'll see that we have receiving records, the vendor associated, the contacts, the country, the items. Maybe I want to go look at the receiving records. Well, there's two of them. It's this one I'm most interested in. I'm going to right click. It's going to give you that receiving record and explode it and tell you everything it knows about that receiving record. So here you have a great way of grabbing this information. Started with a PO, move down to the receiving lines. You can do this with sales orders, job orders, item, whatever screen you choose to use here. Should you want to grab this information, whoops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Grab this information. You have an export function. You can throw this out to Excel if you want to, and then manipulate it in whatever form, shape you want, and or save it for future reference. So that's the Explorer. That's a great tool. I use it all the time. I highly recommend you look at it. The locator is the screen that was once up here. That was the little fellow with the glasses, looked like he was sitting on a park bench, and we've changed that and put that in, or we haven't, Etienne did, and give you the option now of doing searches for specific detailed information. So if I want to go look at what we've done with this customer, for example, I can look it up by a part number. Nice search option here. What part numbers do we want to see? What customer POs? I can filter those down, throw that PO in for that customer. And then my options are basically this. I can go in, first of all, I can delete this and clear this. I can open a sales order screen in this situation if I wanted to, presuming I have that sales order. I can look at the sales order status screen, and it's going to ask me which one in this case because we have several orders with them. And I can open that screen up, and we don't want to see that, do we? So let me fire this up. I have no idea where that came from. Apologize for that. Give me 1 second. The objective here was to return the locator screen that people had used many years in the past, and they basically wanted it back. So not only did they bring it back, but they brought it back with a lot more availability to it, and that availability is to grab the details that you need by filtering out as much as you need. That would include shippers, that includes receivers. And the last thing you can do, should you want to, is there is an icon over here under each subcategory that will throw that output into Explorer for you. So you can look at it with the screen that is allowing you to see, in this case, purchase orders, or you can throw it over here. So locator is another fine option to drill down and get the information you're looking for. And I think it's something of value that we should have a good understanding of. All right, let's move on a little bit. I'm going to jump over here. Most of you may already know this, but I'm going to throw this out there just in case. If you need to add a new field to your a new option into one of these fields that you're looking for example, I may want to add a new freight class. Well, here are the existing freight classes. I only have one, but should I want to make another, that's what this little link here is for. Just click on that and that'll open up pop-up maintenance, and you can add a new one as you see fit. So that's what that little chain is there. And in each of these, it'll take you over to those screens. Let's talk about browsing for a minute. A lot of people don't realize the flexibility that .NET gives you. We can run sort by column headers if we want. We can then throw information into here if we want. So I want everything that starts with a 23 that quick, or includes a 23 that quick, and has that information. Maybe you just want the ones that begin with 23, and now we've got that option. That was clicking on this little icon here. Maybe we want to go over here and look at what is the source code. Well, we could sort by that, but we can also use this little funnel icon here, grab that and say, okay, well, it's either make or stock. That's what we want. We want the stocks that start with 23, and you can see how quickly we have filtered that down and whittled it down to just 4 items. Again, as we had before, export it if you want to, dumps it all out into Excel, hopefully into a format you can use if you want, and you can utilize that from there. So lots of filtering options up here, and don't hesitate to use them. They'll get you in there quicker. Search applies the same related functionality. It's just a matter of putting a numeric value or alpha value in here and then doing a search, and then we can filter it the same way. Okay, something I always talk about, and I think is very important, and this goes back to the days over 20 years ago when I was a user of Made to Manage, and that is overview reports. If you don't use these, I highly recommend that you take a look. They are either starting with an FI if you go into, the overview with an OV. If you go into the transfer, the easiest way to get there is executive information. This is a financial overview. There's a production overview, and then there's a sales overview. You don't have to run every one of these. You can do a quick refresh, but maybe from a standpoint of a production person, you want to know how many jobs are out there with a status of started. Well, I can examine it'll bring up a list for me and let me know what it is. It's actually going to render that report. So let me see that. Or another nice thing you can do is you can click on this guy. Imagine what that's going to do. Well, that's going to throw us into the Explorer screen again, and then allow us to take that information on that particular job order and drill down to the details that you want to see. So lots of flexibility and latitude, but that's not the beauty of these reports. These are what we call over the years management by exception, not management by reviewing everything. If you're a financial person, you might want to look at jobs in process with cost overruns. Maybe we can catch it before they finish it and find out what's going on. Number of invoices with status not confirmed. Well, that's not a good thing. Or status of unconfirmed. I wonder why we'd have so many of those. Take a look at them. That way you can quickly find out what is behind it. And you're going to pick out the ones that may apply to you. From a production standpoint, there's actually 2 tabs in here with a lot of information that may be of value. Okay, same goes for sales. There's overruns, there's jobs on hold, there's returns, a lot of great information here. So I highly, highly recommend that everybody get a good grip on these and understand what they mean. In addition to those, we have what we call business analytics reports. Those reports break down into options of, and again, these are under the executive information. We'll do the production one, we'll throw out the finance one, and give you a picture of what they look like. Now, these reports, and these are reports, are not thrown out in the traditional made to manage report writer format. They are thrown out into Excel for you. And not only are they thrown out into Excel for you, they are thrown out into Excel in a pivot table format. So you can analyze them. You can review them. You can put you can save the report. You can modify the report once you've saved it. A lot of good information in here. And because my dates are so old, this might take a bit to run, but let's see what it does just to get an idea. Let's just open this up and you're going to see it's going to launch Excel for us. We're doing a sales analysis by customer. Let me get rid of that. And here you've got a nice pivot table summary by customer. You want to see what's behind that? You can double click on the cell. It'll open it up for you and tell you what it was. Here's all the data that it found. But look at the tabs across the bottom. Summary by customer, customer chart, summary by part number chart, by product class, by group code. A lot of information here that you can use and probably get some very quick analysis information that may be of help and maybe something you've been searching for quite some time. These reports are very solid and very detailed reports. And again, they are in pivot table format, so you can click on column headers and filter them out and sort them in any way, shape, or form that you really want to. Keep these in mind. They can solve a lot of problems for people who are looking for specific reports that may not be out there. I won't talk about this much, but there is UPS integration. And I'm not going to show this simply because I don't have the integrations to UPS or FedEx that we have available. So what those basically do is allow you to interface with that carrier software and do uploads of shipments over there, and you can do them in batch with UPS. It requires that you have them set up accordingly and installed properly, but it is available for you. A couple other things that I won't go into, but make sure you're aware of that in the 7 version of Made to Manage, they introduced the ability to do credit card processing. Credit card processing is a good option for many people that are working in that mode. Requires that it's installed properly. So if you need help with that, we have people that can do that. And then in the same sense, we have the option to do EFT payments to your vendors. Again, that requires some installation and setup, but not a big deal, and we have some very qualified people that can handle that. Okay, let's move on a little bit. I mentioned one thing earlier on, and that was the margin analyzer. If you don't have this, this was basically an option provided by Aptian. I'm not sure that we have the availability to get the download of this, but I'd have to check on that if you don't already have it. But this product is a great tool to go through and do analysis of a number of things. I mean, if you look across the column headers on the top, you'll see that there's net sales, there's margin percentages, cost estimate from the sales order, cost actual. So what are we doing here? We're looking at the details that are tied to these particular items. If you look Tempe and we look at air applications, it can explode and show you all of the jobs that were under that based upon a range you may have put together. I've got highlighted colors in here that explodes to tell me, we're way out of whack on this one. And maybe while I'm looking at this is giving me a visual indicator that I want to take a look at this job and I want to get more detail. So what we can do is isolate this job, get details with this job. Notice at the top, we can add and remove columns. We can edit formatting if we want. This is where you can throw some colors in there to trigger if a certain event occurs, such as the volume is at a certain level. Very quick analysis, very nice tool to go out and grab those items that you may have highlighted that may need more attention. We're trying to be proactive when we do this, but we're also being reactive in the sense that many of these jobs may be closed and we're reporting after the fact. That's why I like to use those overview reports many times, because they'll tell you in the midst of running where you're at and if you are experiencing an actual bad margin, let's say. So this can give you some good detail. Again, I can export, I can save this, I can load a previous one if I've saved them. You've got a lot of different options in here. Great product. You can even do your own analysis here by filtering and grabbing the information that you want to see. It's a simple looking tool, but it's very powerful in all of the details that it can provide. You also have the option to, as it is in .NET, add other columns you may want to see. And that's what we do when we right-click column headers in .NET. We can bring down and customize the details. So I might want to see the actual hours that are up there as opposed to actual to estimated percentage, for instance. We can modify this to meet our needs. That's Margin Analyzer. Great product. If you have any questions, let us know about that. It is a free product. You don't need to buy it if you can get access to it or if you already have it in your system. Let's take a look at some shop floor manager information, and that's not it. That's right where we just were. I'm going to jump over to shop floor manager. For those of you that have it, and for those of you that don't, I apologize, but there's a few things that we need to take a look at. I'm not going to spend much time on in the Work Center console. Most of you already know what the options are and what you can do. If you don't have this switch turned on, I can show jobs arriving at my Work Center. That will line up all the jobs that are in a prior Work Center heading your way. You can turn this off. You can turn some of these off if you want to. Issue material, if you so choose to empower your people on the floor that are reporting, they can actually do material issues directly from here. So if you've got a material prep step in your routing, for instance, those people might be the ones that could just come in here and use this application to do it. You also have the option, let me open this up all the way, sorry about that. You also have the option in the Work Center console to do a move to inventory. So if you're running material to stock, it's the last move. You can do a quantity to move to inventory based upon what they reported complete. Complete the move. Nobody has to go into Made to Manage and do it. And for those of you that don't know, Shop Floor Manager has no user licensing associated with it. You can put it out in your plant, in your supervisor's office, whatever, 100 times if you want to. So it's a great tool for that. That's one of the reasons it's a great tool. The power comes too with the supervisor's console, which many may be familiar with, where we can look at all of the work centers that we've made available to this supervisor or this person with these logon credentials. What's great about this is we can see if there's any lateness, material status. Let's throw this over here. So I've got a late job, but I also have a job that has material shortage here. I've chosen to show this in my column headers because, again, if you right click, as we do in .NET, we can either choose other fields that may be available. Down here, as we switch, we move from Work Center to Work Center, and we'll show all those that are scheduled to run or are currently running in that Work Center. I'm not going to go through all these, but one of them that makes a lot of sense to me is the production analyzer product. Here I'm going to show a range, which is done through the setup in here. A lot of setup options. This will dictate a few things for us, but we got to go through all of that right now. But what we're finding out here is we're looking at parts. So if I look, let's just take a look at CF20. 2020 or CP 2020, you notice there's 3 entries here. And that's because that item has 3 steps in its routing. Drill, shear, and foam. Or I'm sorry, I'm getting off here. Shear, foam, and drill. What we're finding here is that if I've got 5 historical jobs that we have collected, and what we're finding here in these historical jobs is the actual reported labors statistics collected along the way. So if we look here, this job is averaging out exactly what this routing says. Very close, very, very close. We're also looking at the option 10. It's pretty close again. And here's another one that is slightly less. What I really want to look at is over here are these variances. And if I sort by these variances, you're going to see I have some negative variances and I have some very big variances. Why would I have a $480 variance in this particular step of this particular item? I have no idea, but I want to go take a look at it. And I can do that. We can drill into the detail if we want to. So if I select that, come down here and part number product analyzer, it will show me all of the steps. It will show me all of the collected times and average times. We will average those times out for you and give you the detail down below. You can do some modifications here, but the bottom line is we have a very good history of items that may need to have their standard times updated to reflect what's been actually happening. And to do that, if we want, we can use the average time as an update to the standard routing. Well, maybe I want to just round that off to 0.30. And what we'll do then is we'll hit update routings, and this will go over to the routing screen and update that, that rate at the routing for that item at that operation level. What's it do? It dials in our times to process a lot tighter than they have been. If these are in fact true variances, and give us a great amount of more, not a great amount, but a better amount of reliable information in the routing structure for future reference and not have to deal with a lot of variance if we get those times dialed into being more accurate. Very important for a lot of times for the financial folks, but also for the estimating folks. Also for the scheduling folks, why would I want to schedule only this amount of time that we have set up as a standard when in actuality it's going to take this? We have the potential of making these jobs in the future late. So to clarify one thing, if we do an update routing, it will update the standard. If you have an actual job currently running for this item, it will not go in and change that job. You will have to do that manually. But if we change the standard for anything future moving forward, that will make a big difference for us. It will clean it up, give us more accurate reporting information from all those different venues that we spoke of earlier. There is another option that's out there that many people don't realize. I think I have this working. Let me just make sure I got this right. And this is what's called Shop Floor Manager Mobile. It can be run on a pad or another device, and allows people in the in the supervisory mode or in the production management mode, whatever, to go in and be able to search on various information. I'm just looking at late jobs. I got 47 late jobs. That's not a good thing. I need to be able to see this quickly. What is this all about? I can drill down by double clicking. So understand there is a mobile manage. I'm sorry, shop floor mobile manage. That would be a part of their product, and it's a separate install and application that has to go into play. Okay, jump back into main to manage for a sec here. I mentioned this earlier. When it comes to CRM, the designers at Aptian decided to throw their much of the field service module under CRM, which didn't make much sense to me, but so be it. It is there. If you have the notion of wanting to do opportunity management, you can set up opportunities. This would basically be a pre-quote type of analysis. In other words, here's my contact, here's my salesperson, this is a special order. We can set up all these metrics on here associated with it, and then we can do follow-ups on it. So it's a nice tool. You can put standard products in, you can put non-standard products in here, and then you can actually drive a quote from here. So in other words, selected parts to create a new quote. It gives us the potential of having more depth in our review of the product's life cycle, or where we've actually done our work up front, should you want to. Again, I'll stress the fact that many people have their own CRM applications, so it may not apply, but knowing it's there is important. The other thing you can do in here is with that functionality, we have the ability to add activity management. Activity management allows us to do an activity or to do. I'm looking at this particular sales order. I may want to add a to do, and that says this, that, and the other thing, and relative to this particular sales order. And then we can track those, and I can have my own to-do list that tells me, hey, here's things you need to take a look at. So from a to-do management standpoint, you can have those associated with this item. Again, once it's set up, you'll see a list of any of the to-dos in here. So let's just throw one in here. We can give this a subject. I'm going to give it a bunch of gibberish here. This is a email. I want to have this email done on the 30th. And I'll hit OK. And then who's my contact? Who's the owner? What's the description, et cetera, et cetera. And then you'll be reminded of this date, on this date, that you have a to-do associated with these guys. Great tool if you want to do that. It's a good reminder tool. Maybe you're waiting on a customer, you got a sales order awaiting approval, or you're waiting for their approval on the design structure. number of different things can be done to this. So basically, CRM allows you to do that functionality within Made to Manage and do a little bit of light CRM in the product. It's not going to do a lot of multiple functions that allow you to dispense a lot of information, but there is some email connectivity to it, so people can pick stuff up on the road if you need to, and view their own opportunities, their own tasks. I can be at a customer and look up my opportunities for that customer. So there are options to do that as well. Just one more thing to touch on. Oh, there's a couple things here. Sales order acknowledgement queue for those people that are using planning and scheduling. And please disregard all the red on my screen because all of my orders are from way back when. It will tell us the results of what has been done from the planning and scheduling tools that we're using. So ship date is here, the current scheduled date is here, the suggested ship date is here based upon when the scheduled finish date is going to be. This can give our salespeople an indication of what may have happened from a rescheduling standpoint and or from a newly generated order. If the scheduler were to move some materials around in a manual mode, it could make another item late for one reason or another. This is a good queued up area for sales to take a look and hunt down those particular items that a customer may be calling about just to see if it's still on schedule or when it's scheduled from the actual scheduling software. Okay, we got about 5 minutes left here. I could go on and on today with a whole bunch of different things. Those are some of the more powerful tools that I like to show. A few things I didn't mention. We talked about this earlier. We have a job mass status change now available to you, so you can go in and grab release jobs. I wouldn't do that, but we can do completed jobs. We could filter those jobs, and then we can switch them off to a closed, for instance, situation, or back to released if we wanted to. You can even set up jobs to be closed automatically if you want, based upon criteria that you've established. So if the variance of material is within 2%, we're in good shape. We can go auto close stock jobs, make jobs. Have a look at this if you think it's of any value. Most people want to take a good look at these things. So set your percentages properly so you can keep a focus on those things that are way out of alignment. Okay. So that's that mass job status change. There was some changes to the pricing structure within Made to Manage. So if you wanted to do a mass price change, you can do that. There are tools to do that. And I'm trying to remember exactly where it is, but there is a item master update selling price screen. You can do that from here. You can even update variable price schedules in an automated fashion. So again, I'm not going to keep going at this point in time. We're 5 minutes away from moving on to our next presenter. I'll open it up for anybody that's got any questions.
I do have a question for you, Ray.
Okay, let's have
it. They would like to know, is there a way to reorganize the list in the favorites to put them in alphabetical order?
Ooh, I don't know. Reset? I'm not sure what that's going to do. So I don't know the answer to that question. I've never had that question before. I'd have to check. I don't think there is, but let me check and see. Unless one of our other panelists has the solution to this. I don't know that there is one, to be honest with you.
All right. If you guys have questions, you can continue to raise your hand and we can ask them, or you can throw them into the question box. We can do it either way. I have a feeling you got a couple coming, Ray. Let's see. Let's give us just a moment. We have some typing bubbles.
A typing bubble.
Yes.
Still bubbling?
They actually answered the question. It says, while the customized favorite window is open, the items in the favorites can be dragged around by clicking done, or before clicking done. Sorry.
Yeah, because there's no moving them from here. But yeah, you could do that. I assume once you add them, you can move them around. But right within the screen, I don't see where you can do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Are there any other questions for Ray? You guys can throw them in the question box or raise your hand and I can ask you what your question is. Oh, they said click the gear, customize favorites, and then you can drag them about.
Really?
If that works.
And don't forget to give Ray a thumbs up, or you guys a heart, or a happy with those little claps.
Thank you very much to the person who is giving us this information.
That's good, and thank you for giving us the information. There's a clap. Yeah. Ray, you got a couple of claps going on. You did a great job. Look at it. They're coming in.
All right.
Don't forget to give them a heart, a love every once in a while. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
You go,
hopefully that was helpful.
That's all right. Does anybody have any other questions before we switch to our next session for Ray? Otherwise, if you guys hold them to the end, we will have people here to answer them for you. So I'll give everybody a minute, and then we will switch on over to our next one.
Thanks again, everybody. I hope that was helpful, and shoot us any questions you might have.
So I'll throw up our contact info in the meantime before we switch on over to our next one, giving people time to finish typing their questions. So we wait, but thank you, Ray. That was a very, very good presentation.
All righty. Everybody have a great day and enjoy the rest of your time in this session.
All right. Since I don't see any of them coming through, we are going to go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is Vertance Navigator, and I'm going to kick it over to Connie if she is ready to go.
I am here. All right. And can everyone see screen?
Yes. You're a little low, though.
I'm a little low.
Your voice.
I'm a little... Oh, I can definitely be louder. And those of you that know me know that that is definitely not a problem. So, hello, everyone. Is that better?
Yes.
All right, everyone. Today, I'm going to show you a little bit about Vertance Navagator. It's a tool that I really enjoy using. I've been using a little bit about me. I've been using Made to Manage for over 25 years. I won't date myself too much as both a customer and a consultant. Vertance Navagator is something that I've used recently and enjoy the heck out of it. If you are a license, under license scrutiny, if you will, with Made to Manage, Vertance is a good supplement to that. So if you don't want to buy more licenses with Afternoon, or you can't because you're not on maintenance, Navigator is a good supplement to that because it gives you access to everything that you need to do in Made to Manage without being a heavy user. So as long as you're not doing a bunch of data entry, those people that just need view access to go in and run reports, analyze data, look up information, this is a good supplement. So I'm going to show a little bit that is worthwhile in Navigator. I'm going to go through and look at, we're going to start with the item master. Some of the information or some of the screens that you'll see are the toolbars. They will look very familiar with Made to Manage and the .NET platform. A lot of that is because the background to Navigator is purchased from the same place where Made to Manage gets their background for their product. So these will look very familiar to you and your users. This is my item master. This is a complete list of all of my active parts. You have lots of different columns that you can pick from. Anything that you don't see here, same thing, you have a column chooser that you can go out and pick additional things. If you wanted to look up usually the last 3 years, excuse me, last 3 years of your issues or receipts is also available to plug into here so you can look at those. I would go out and I could look at my on hand. Sorry, let me close that. This will change as every item that you select. If you want to see everything, you can click on your aggregate mode button, and that will show you all of your inventory on hand by location bin. This is different than your inventory valuation report that is in Made to Manage. That is a combined report by part revision. This is a report, or this is an Excel format, whichever you would like, by location bin. So you would see all of your information, all of your inventory where it's at. Like this one, for example, it's in 2 different locations and 0 quantity on one and 10 on the other. Another option that you can do with here is you can look at your transaction history. So in your transaction history, and I keep pulling this column out. If you are multi-facility, you can definitely see this. To me, it just pulls up more information. I like to see more information on my screen. So I'll take out unnecessary columns that are here. I probably shouldn't have pulled that. In my inventory transactions, you can get comments here to see what the transaction was, if they are shippers, if they are receivers. I have Mobile Manage on my console, so you can see that I've done transactions through there. And you're going to see all of those transactions through this screen. I have it still on aggregate mode, which means I'm seeing all of my transactions for all of my data. Like Ray, my data is the old fan company data, so you will see some very old dates in here. These are some current ones just because I was trying to throw some current information through the system. You can go out and you can change your time span of what you're looking at. So if I wanted to do, let's do, I think it's like 20. And refresh that. You're going to see a lot more information out here because now it's by the date. You're going to see all that 2015. So you can go in and you can filter off of, and you can look at just receipts. You can look at your physical inventory. If you guys do physical inventory tags, you can go out and you can find all that information in here. The last screen that I just wanted to show through inventory, for those of you that are familiar, you all know that Made to Manage does material availability. It does not do material allocation. Navigator has a material allocation format in here that you can go out and you can use. If you wanted to go out and pick parts, I'm going to take the aggregate mode off, and you can go out and you can see what your part is. I don't know where I'm at. There. I have 0 on hand. I've got a PO 75 for 1, and then I have a planned purchase order requirement for another 100. If I wanted to look out and just to show you information that's out there, I can see at this part, I don't have any on hand, but I have 2 job orders to fill my supply. If I look at this one, I've got 499 on hand. My 499 is going to fill this sales order, this job order, and then part of my safety stock. And then I have other job orders now that are going to subsequently fill the rest of that demand. And it keeps just going further and further. So you can get a complete allocation of all of your demand with all of its supplies. I want to look at my purchase order just really quick so you can see that. Same thing here. we can see I've got 564 on hand that will feed these demands. And once I get to that point, then I have a purchase order 33 that's going to give me 20. And then I need a new planned purchase order to fill the rest of my demand. Your demands also include your safety stock. So if you have safety stock requirements out there, that will be fed. All right, and I apologize if I'm going to go a little fast. There's quite a few things that I want to show in the time that we have. Very high level items, but just so you get a little gist of what Navigator can do. We have sales orders. If I look at all of my open sales orders, this is the default view that will come up. You can customize this any way, shape, or form. You can take out columns that you don't want to see. I've created one where I'm going to look at just what I want, and then I can save my view. I can make that active, so it will come up all the time for me, and I don't have to customize this every time. This is my sales orders. If I want to look at my detailed items for that, this is one singular sales order. You can see all the information that is pertinent to that sales order item. So you can see job orders that are associated to it. These are make jobs, so they are direct linked, as you can see. The statuses, if items have been shipped, you've got your shipper information, and all the way down to your invoice. If you can tell from your screens, it may be a little difficult. Some of these columns are shaded. Anything that is shaded is a drillable column. So if I wanted to double click on this item, it's going to take me directly to my shipper. If there was more information that I needed to look at through here, I could do that. So that goes all the way through any of the columns in the top or the bottom section of the screens. Anything that is a drill or anything that is gray or beige, depending on your colors, you can go out and you can drill into and get more information. Let's see, you can also do a shortage. So if you want a shortage report, and like Made to Manage, you have parent-child relation, which is where this screen split is coming from. If I want to look at my shortage, basically my parent is no longer viable. I don't need to look at that. So I'm going to expand my detail information, which is just going to hide the top. I'm then going to click on aggregate. This is my shortage report for my sales orders. So I can go out and I can see all of my sales very quickly. I can see what is being needed. It shows you job orders. It shows you if it's on hand. If I need a purchase order, again, depending on what type the part is, this is a buy part, so I need a purchase order for it, and I don't have one as of yet. It shows you if there's nothing supplied yet for your items, that you don't have a supply yet created. And it's got all of the fun color coding, so if you want to have things stick out very quickly, you can see that. This would be your sales order shortage report that you can look at regularly and see what's needed and where to go in and focus on. We're going to look at two more shortage reports as well for your job orders and for your purchase orders. So I'm going to come back out. I'm going to start again, and I'm going to open up my job orders. We'll look at all of my active job orders. Again, you can see this is the default information that comes up. I've created a little view, so it just condenses a little bit more. You've got your basic job order information, status, what is the current work center. If you're reporting labor, it's going to show you where it's at. Job quantity, your part number, all kinds of other columns over here. Sales order, if it's a make job. You can then come out and we're going to look at the job order routing. You can see information here. You can see your estimates. Something that is a little bit better is your labor, if you've got labor efficiency on these. And apologize because again, some of this information, if I look at my last labor date, that's going to give me some information here, and I'm going to look at my last, again, old data, 20 years of labor. And now I can see my labor. If I want to click on full detail, I can come out and I can see my actual completed, my estimate setup, my actual setup, estimate production hours. You can go out and you can see what your production efficiency is. You can see the employees that have reported that labor. If you have issues with maybe a specific employee, then this is going to kind of isolate and show you the people that maybe you need to go talk to and find out the whys of what's going on. You can look at your bill of materials. Yeah. And my brain just went blind. Oh, duh, right on top. Sorry, guys. As with the inventory and the sales order, aggregate is available. So you can go out and you can aggregate, which is looking on everything from the above information down below. This is going to show you your bill of material in the items that you have here. What's really good is now we can do a shortage report. So if I want to look at my material readiness, by default, you can look at everything. This is everything that you have. Shows you if items have been issued. You've got a supply type over here. If you want a shortage, we don't care about things that are issued. We don't care about things that are on hand. Again, I'm going to click on my aggregate mode, which is going to show me everything from up above. And I have my last labor filter, so I'm going to take that off. So I'm going to expand that a little bit. And now I'm seeing my job order shortage report. This is going to go in, and based off of job order, I don't have a PO, and I need a PO for this line item. If you don't have issues, you've got stock jobs that are filling those issues, so you can go out and you can follow up with that as far as where those job orders are at. Purchase orders, these are purchase orders that are placed in their last promise date. PPO is a planned purchase order, so you've got to place a PO that you don't have yet. So this is your shortage for all of your job orders that you would have in your system. Kind of a quick view. You can see what's going on. You can see dates. You can see that you're behind if you're going to be behind or late on a job order. We'll continue that trend and we'll look at purchase orders. So if I want to look at my current purchase orders. Again, this is my view that I've created and made it come up as default. So as you can see, I don't have to whittle through all of the excess columns if I don't want to. I can look at my purchase order items. This is just any singular purchase order that I click on. It's going to show me all the detail down below. I can then click on my demand audit. Demand audit is just for purchase orders, but basically the same thing that we were looking at from the sales order side and from the job order side. So you can go out and you can see you have these purchase orders. This is the demand date. This is what's demanding them, these job orders. And you can go out and you can focus on what you need to try and expedite as much as possible. If we do the aggregate again, I'm going to see all of my information. So this could be something good for your purchasing people to go out and to try and drill in to see if there's things that need to be expedited for your production. All my stuff is late from 2015, so I am very late. My jobs are going to also suffer for that same aspect. One thing that is helpful there is actually on the job order, there's a color code button. I forgot to show that really quick, but it'll go out and it'll show you what all of the color coding symbolizes for whatever, for the grid that you're on at that time. All right, let's see. Your next area, you have all of the other basic areas that you have within Me to Manage. So receivers, these are going to show all your current receivers. Again, the same thing with if you have a shaded column, you can go out and you can double click on that and it's going to take you to whatever that source element is that is shaded. Part number is going to take you back out to your item master. We can close those. You've got shippers, same thing. These are all my recent shippers. Comes all the way back down. You can see all the information that is necessary if you want. You don't have to look at all this if you don't want to see it. We're going to keep company. I don't really care about the address or the city, so I can click and drag these up. I can go out and I can save this as my default template. And now the next time I open up my shipping, this is going to be the view that I'm going to see. It can be just for me. You can create views that are also networked. So if you want to add a view and you want everybody to see the same view, then you would click this checkbox to say add a network view. And now your people are all sharing the same type of view. So sometimes that's important. So you got different people that can pull different information. You really want them to share the same information so that way they're not, I don't want to say wrong answers, but everybody's looking at the same information. You're getting the same answers. You can then go into finance. So if we look at our AR, we have our AR invoices. And this is going to show you unpaid, partially paid, what type of invoice it is, where is it coming from. You can go through and again, get rid of the stuff that you don't want. The items that you have in here, you have your individual item. So you can go out and look at the detailed item for the invoice. You also have a margin analysis that you can go out and you can look at, and you can see what your gross margin is for that item for any invoice that you select. You can do the same thing as far as the aggregate mode if you wanted to look at this as a whole. And you can see your total margin, sort by that, take your pluses and your minuses. Maybe it gives you an idea of things that you need to look at and review. Maybe you had some expedited charges and so you had a negative margin. If you've got some 100%, hey, we need to sell some more of this stuff. So it gives you a target place of things that potentially you can work on. Focus on whether if it's your production area or whether if it's your sales area, that can go out and you can look at those things. You've got, let me pull up the AP invoices. So my AP invoices as well. And as you can see, I have multiple tabs. You can open as many tabs as you deem fit. And you can just bounce back and forth between them to look at the information that you're looking at. This is your AP. So I have my items and you can see any detail that you have from your AP invoices as well. Same shading. If you want to go out and you can look at the receiver, you can go out and look at the receiver and see if maybe something was received incorrectly if you end up with an item with a PPV. All right. Lastly, you have all of your GL accounts. So you can go out and you can drill into accounting information. I have hidden my header accounts and zero balance accounts. If you want to see all that, by all means, you definitely can. You can click on those and then that way you're just dealing with your active accounts. If you want to look at inventory, and again, you have your dates in here. So you can change these to, last month, current, if it's an absolute, and you can change your date filter specifically, you can do that. You can't see it because I've only got one entry in here, but this column here is my shaded column. So if I want to go out and I want to look at what were the transactions that added up to that entry, I can come out here and I can see that I had 3 shippers that added to that entry for this month. If there's issues or anything like that that you need to dig into, this gives you all of the background that you can go in and you can look at your order costing. You can do the same thing with, you've got WIP. So if you've got questions with your WIP, whatever GL account you have out here, you can drill into. Let's see, we can pick our COGS and again, drill in here. And actually I picked quite the opposite of the account that I was just looking at. So, but you can go in and you can dig into these, excuse me, and go out and research and look for your order costing troubleshooting is usually where a lot of my accounting people are going out and looking for things. So you can drill in this way. Okay. Let's see. I think that's actually the gist. You've got Work Center information out here. So you can go out and you can look and see what your Work Center screens are currently looking at. You've got scheduled. I do not have any scheduled capacity in here because I'm not using my scheduling option for late or old data, something that needs to be updated. But you can go out and you can see what your capacity is and what your scheduled hours are to look and see whether or not if you're behind capacity. If you, let's see, I don't have any information, so this is not going to be helpful. You can go out, you can get a dispatch list for your Work Center. So this could be a subsequent to your planning and scheduling. If you had information that you had don't have that option or that module running, you could use that through here as well. Let's see, I think that's probably the gist. That's very definitely high level. If you have ISOs, IDOs, you've got information there. If you do quotes, you can see the quote information just like you would see your sales order information from there. And at that point, I'm going to kind of leave this and wanted to make sure I stay under my 30 minutes. And I've got a couple minutes left. If there are any questions, Jessica, if there are any questions out there, I'm happy to answer.
It looks like there is not at the moment, but you guys can
Awesome.
throw them down into your little question box, or you can raise your hand and I can ask you what you would like to ask our consultants, and they'd be happy to. Thank you, Connie, and then also
Absolutely.
to Steve as well. So if you guys want to
Yes.
set anything up for Navigator, we can get you in touch with Connie and Steve. Sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. They will be happy to help you in any way and answer any questions and all of that.
Yes, and Steve does do evaluation copies. So you usually get a 30 to 60 day evaluation copy. That way you can actually view this and use this on your own data. A lot of people get more benefit when they're looking at their data versus fan company data. Totally understandable. So if you reach out to him, he's happy to do that for you.
Yes. And if I'm not mistaken, he also does training with it as well.
Yes. Yes. If he's available, he does that. If not, then I can do that as well.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Connie.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Connie.
You're very welcome, Jim.
And we will go ahead and move into our final portion before our question and answers. If our next presenter is ready. Joseph, are you ready?
I am.
All right, I will kick it on over to you, and we will do our final session for PrintBoss before we do our question and answers. And you guys can ask our consultants anything. It doesn't have to be just what we went over today. They are happy to answer all of your questions. They love it very much.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm going to be talking to you today about PrintBoss. PrintBoss is a 30-year-old software, so it's been around for a while. It works as a check printing and document automation software. When it was first created in 1990, it was created so that people could print checks from multiple bank accounts onto a single blank check stock. Now, PrintBoss is excellent at that. And if you would like to talk about that, we're going to be talking a little bit about it later. But what I'm primarily going to be talking to you about is the document automation side of PrintBoss, which is where it truly shines with an ERP system like Made to Manage. So one of the big headaches that people have with, say, generating and sending out invoices or purchase orders is if you want to email out a sales order from Made to Manage. Typically, the way you would do that is you would run your report, save as a PDF, then go to Outlook and attach that to an email and send that email for every single document that you want to send out. PrintBoss's built-in document automation capabilities allows us to utilize it to send these documents out through one click, just as if we're printing the report. So let me show you a little bit more though about how PrintBoss works. So this is our user interface for PrintBoss. Looks pretty okay, pretty normal, but this is only half of the equation. Where the real work is being done is right here. When we install PrintBoss onto your machine, you get the user interface and the virtual printer. What it does, any document that we print through this printer to this application, it scans it, reads everything that's on there according to how we've configured it, and then reads those and interprets them to input your email address, your contact information, anything you would need for that email to be generated. It then communicates with Outlook and sends it through your outbox. So let me go in here and I'll show you what I mean. In Made to Manage, nearly all of our reports in here natively have a built-in email field in their data set. Now, it's very important to clarify, when we're talking about printing, not everything that comes out of Made to Manage is a printed form. So let me give you an example here. When we're dealing with EFT, you have your EFT remittance advice, which is a report. We can come in here, EFT, look up our EFT remittance advice. Now, traditionally, what we would have we preview this. Here we have a pretty standard just remittance advice document. And you'll see there's no email field, anything here, but it exists in the background in our data. So all that we have to do is come in here and set up a new copy. Down here we have email copy or sometimes PrintBoss copy. And I've customized that, and now my email field is showing up on here. I have it set up now to where all I have to do is click the print button and it will generate the email for me like this. We get a pop-up window to choose the form, which will have, you can have any number of forms, is from sales orders, purchase orders, invoices. We're going to choose our EFT remit. And here we have our email address automatically pulled from it. Down here, we have a message that is already populated with information from that document, and attached to it is the PDF. So when I click send email, successfully mailed. And here we go. Here we have our email that came in, pulled in Simpson Tool and Die from the information there. It's also remittance advice and the document number, and then attached. Sorry about that. Opened on another screen I couldn't see. Here we have our document. Now where we can play with this some, you'll notice my email address field is no longer showing up on the form. What we can do with PrintBoss is come into the background and configure exactly what it's scanning and what it's sending to our customers in that email. So we'll go back out to PrintBoss here to show you exactly what I mean. So in PrintBoss, under File, we have our Open Document Work Files. This is all of our print jobs that we have sent through the PrintBoss 50 printer. Here we choose our form, EFT remit, and just double click it. And here's our print job that we just emailed out. We open that. This is what was sent to the customer. Now, to tell PrintBoss exactly what we want in here, we have to tell it we want to capture the raw data. And we do that by right-clicking and then coming down to View Raw Capture. And here you see every one of these pink boxes is a data set that PrintBoss is picking up on from the report and can be included in the email. Here we have our email. If we double click this, you see right here I've assigned a variable to it, email to. In there, we can set it to trim it however we want. We can set it to all uppercase. We can make it a permanent field on the report that will always show there. Or like I've done with this, blank out after capture. So one of the common things that you might come across is, say you don't want to have 3 different email addresses laid out here because you have 3 different recipients because you think it clogs it up. We can come in here, still have it show up here to be read for the report, but then we can configure it to remove that field after it's been read by PrintBoss. So say there was something that we wanted to assign a new variable to, say Los Angeles. All we would have to do is double click it. It automatically reads. We can click to assign variable, and then up here name our variable. Then click close. And now it does not automatically save. We have to close. Would you like to save the changes? Yes. And now we open this back up, view our raw capture, and it has captured Los Angeles. That can now be used in our email wording if we want to use that when we're sending it out. So another report that we would do in here, just as an example, sales orders. Okay, so yet again, we have our email copy is what we're going to select here. And we could display it to preview it, or we can just click print and it will print there. So that's what I'm going to do this time, just so we can see it. Oh, I got to tell it it's already been printed. Excuse me. And now this is our sales order. So we're going to choose SO email. And here we go. Now we have our sales order. We can either click send email now, or another thing we could do is just close this. And then when we come back to PrintBoss, if we look in our work files, it is here. So what you could do is stack up your printing jobs and send them all at the end of the day. And here we're going to get our pop-up again. And here's our email with our sales order attached. Something that PrintBoss can do that my current system is not set up to do. We can configure it so that, say you want to run a batch of 30 different sales orders in one printing. We can configure PrintBoss, because of its native ability to read these documents, scan them for information. It can read the page numbers and parse it out into separate emails for separate customers, to where you have 30 different sales orders for 30 different customers that you're emailing out with one click. Simply because we've been able to tie in that email field here and pass it through the PrintBoss 50 printer. Okay. Now, I mentioned earlier about that I was going to come back to check writing, and I also mentioned that PrintBoss can handle things that are printed from Made to Manage. If we look at something that's not, say, our ACH exports, let's look one of those up. We go to our accounts payable screen to find our files. Here, under bank names, we have our bank. This is where our EFT file location is being output to. We copy this. We can go to File Explorer, come up here and paste it there. And here we have all of our existing EFT batches, ACH batches. We open them up. They are simple text files. It's very confusing to read through. But there is an existing tool in PrintBoss that helps us out with analyzing these. You go to Utilities, Examine ACH Files. We can go up here to Open ACH, and it's already going to my EFT files, and I'm just going to double click on these. And it will analyze it and break it down as far as bank information, routing numbers, individual payments being processed, and batches. Now, what it cannot do, just being hooked up to an ERP, is transmit. PrintBoss does not function as a payment transmission software. It functions as a document automation. So because we could go out here and take this file and print it to the PrintBoss printer and email it that way, but if you're going to do that, to email it to your bank, you might as well just attach it to an email. Now, there is one exception to that. If you are going to be using PrintBoss for check printing, meaning you are going to be fully integrating not just to your ERP software, but to your accounting software as well, which PrintBoss natively out of the box can integrate with Intuit QuickBooks, Microsoft Dynamics, all of your Sage products, and it can even be customized to fit a lot of different accounting softwares that are out there that aren't included in the list. If you want to go that route, PrintBoss can handle the electronic submission of those for you through email. It does have built-in security that you have to have a master security password to access. In here, we have FTP accounts, and we can set up your account ID, the domain, and login ID through your accounting software so that we can submit that to your bank for you through the software. But again, what that's going to require is not just document automation, as I was talking about, where you're tying in to Made to Manage. It would require that we tie in not just to Made to Manage, but also your accounting software like Sage or QuickBooks. Real quick notes on the way that PrintBoss is installed. We have multiple options. Typically, PrintBoss is installed with one license on a server as a network installation. And then what we do is if you want individual workers at individual workstations to be utilizing the software, we do a workstation installation on their computer that ties back in and reads the license information and all the form information from the server. What we can't do, and this was an issue recently, PrintBoss does not come with a Microsoft installation package to push those out to the workstations. So if you have 50 workstations you want it installed on, we would have to go onto each workstation and do a workstation installation. Now, that being said, doing a workstation installation of PrintBoss only takes about 5 minutes. So it is very easy to get through. Now, the other way that we can do this, that we have a customer using it, is installed on their server locally. When we install it on your server locally, the way we would do that is if you have a person in, say, working at a workstation that you want to access the PrintBoss software to send out invoices, we would be able to set up install PrintBoss on your server locally and then they would remote desktop into the server to be able to email out those documents that they're needing to send. It's all according to how you want it set up. Okay, so to show you how PrintBoss communicates with Outlook. So this option here, send mail to Outlook outbox. We do not use, this is an older way that this works to work with older forms of Outlook. We want to enable the email module. And then down here, we're going to office365.com. And the way that this works is we have OAuth 2.0. These credentials that we enter here, which typically, if it's going to be for general documents, would be something like accounting@peoplesense or your domain.com. We have that set up here. If we click here, in the background, all we have to do is authorize this that first time. And every time we send an email after that, it automatically refreshes, reading back through these credentials that we have here. So you're not constantly having to re-log into your email. You're not constantly having to re-input credentials. It's all stored in here. Over here, this is where we come to edit the subject and body of our email. So up here, we've got, just like with a mail merge document, you see customer name. We've put that in brackets, and that will automatically include that from our email, from our document, into the subject of the email. Down here, we have text editor, where if you want to change the email wording that you're sending out to customers, we click text editor, and it pulls up the text file for us. And again, just like with the subject, anytime we want to tie one of those fields that we have on our report into the message of our body, of our email body here, all we have to do, we've assigned a variable to it. As you saw earlier when we were viewing the raw data, we put that name for that variable here inside brackets, and it will automatically be populated for our email. You can do this for the document amount, the document name, the document number, your contact person at the company name, any field that we have on that document that you want to email out can also be included in the body of the email. Now, another thing that you could have, say you don't want every email to follow this wording. Right now, this is just our blank, our default email messaging for what we're going to send out. What we could do is come into Made to Manage. Say you want your EFT remittance advice to go out with a specific message at the end that only applies to EFT remittance advice. We can come into our report and when we are customizing this in Made to Manage, I don't have one set up to show you, but I'm going to show you just how that would work, is we can have it to where it prints out to here with wording in a text box down here that we can then assign a variable to which PrintBoss will pick up and use that as our wording for our email. Okay, and that pretty much covers PrintBoss. Are there any questions anyone has?
Let's see. Yes. It says there is a remit advice function for check from AP check as well as EFTs, right?
Could you restate that for me?
That's okay. They're asking, is there a remit advice function for checks from the APP check as well as EFTs?
In PrintBoss, the remit would be done the same way, to where basically you would be printing to your text file to PrintBoss. I think I'm answering your question. And then you would upload it to your bank through the FTP uploader, and it would do it the same way. Does that answer the question?
Give us 1 second and we shall see.
Okay.
And if you have questions about PrintBoss, let us know. We can set up a question and answer. If not this week, of course, next week with Joseph and the team to go over maybe questions that you might have.
Yeah, and
if you're interested in maybe buying it.
If you guys have any questions, now is the time to ask. It can be about anything we covered today, from the tips and tricks, from Vertance, from PrintBoss, or just general questions that you would like to ask our consultants that you talk to and email back and forth day to day. They are on here. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to see if you have any questions from that. Okay, so here we go. Can this send remit advice to all vendors included in the EFT or check batch all at once, to like 100 vendors at the same time?
So it's all according to how we configure your EFT remittance advice report in here. If you separate it out to where they're coming out at different page numbers, PrintBoss can read those page numbers, parse out these separate documents, and then send them out separately. If it is set up, which that's not, we could customize it to do that, in set a customization for the report in Made to Manage to do that. What it can't do straight out of the box is take an EFT remittance document where you're doing a run for 30 vendors on a specific report where you've got a single printout. It's not going to be able to scan that and black out, this bank's 3 lines of information, this bank's 3 lines of information, or customers' lines of information. What it can do is separate out those pages to send them out as separate reports.
Alrighty, let's see what else we got. We got some few bubbles going on, so we'll see if they. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Can PrintBoss be programmed to electronically sign purchase orders by user?
Yes, it can. PrintBoss has built in, because it's a check writing software initially, it has digital signatures built in here. Let's see. Examine logos and signatures. I have none built in right now, but one of the original things that PrintBoss was used for was to securely attach signatures to checks. So that security carries over to your purchase order if you want to attach a signature to that.
All right, thank you for that. Let's see, guys, keep rolling in with your questions. We love them. We have everybody here to answer just about anything you could think of, and if they don't have the answer now, they will reach back out to you. So before I switch it over back to all of our contact info, I'll give it a minute to see if anybody has any more questions for you, Joseph.
Okay.
Joseph, thank you so much.
No problem. Always happy to talk about it. It makes life easier for a lot of people.
All right, I'm going to switch it back over to me. And thank you, Joseph, for your presentation, not only today, but yesterday as well. I know it's something that you love to do. So, all right, everybody. Now we are entered into our question and answers. So fire them away as you have them. All of our consultants are here to answer them. It can be anything you can think of for your system, or if you have an issue that you'd like to talk about.
Any questions? Any? If you guys have any questions, please. Anything to do with made to manage, anything to do with customizations, extra fields, things like that, anything. Shop floor manager, anything to do with planning and scheduling, please let us know.
Labor, financials, all of the above. So we will give everyone a few minutes to see if they have any questions. And again, we have our very experienced consultants on here who love talking to you guys. We have Ken, Susan, Ray. We also have Connie. And then we also have Jimmy on here if you have any questions for him. Is there anything anyone would like to add?
Hey, Jess. This is Jimmy. It looks like at the top of my screen it says there's a raised hand. I'm not sure if you got to that or.
I do. All right. So let's see what would be their question. Oh, hold on. Give me just a moment. Let me unshare my. They asked, are there any common gotchas when it comes to performing a service pack upgrade? We've been sitting on SP17 for a while now and looking to make the leap to 22 or 23 soon.
Ken?
I can field that one. When you go from 17 to 22 or 23, you want to make sure you look through the instructions when you do it. There's when you leave 17, they've removed the report helper dependency from the report, so there's an extra step you have to run on the reports. They've changed where the processor user is stored. That's now located in a CSSys. You got to get that set up. Otherwise, any of your processes will not run as you expect, like barcode, UPS, items like that, anything that's in the command scheduler. The other thing you got to watch is in 22, they introduced sales unit order or sales unit of measure. Most of you are probably familiar with the vendor user or unit of measure. Like if you buy steel and you're paying by the pound, but you issue it out by the square foot, there's a conversion rate that goes there so you can value your inventory. They've done the same thing with sales now, to where if you inventory items by the jar, but you sell it by the case, then it'll convert that for you when you enter in the case. The problem is they haven't updated the quote files correctly with the information for the sales order unit of measure. Originally, when it first came out and they fixed it in a service pack, it didn't do any of the files where it updated it. So when you went to do a copy or something similar, it would error out. So you want to make sure you read the instructions on that and then go in and update the quote table accordingly to get those sales unit of measures in there if you use quotes quite extensively and you do add and carries of the sales order. Those are the big three gotchas on that upgrade.
All right, thank you, Ken.
And of course we do service packs upgrades as well. We usually estimate 2 to 4 hours depending on the size of your data and the speed of your server.
And that is something Ken loves to do. So you guys, keep rolling your questions in. They're happy to help you guys with anything you would like to know. Let's see, I'll share my screen back up. Oh, well, just 1 second. Let's see. So they asked report helpers and sales UM, and then what was the one you said in the middle, Ken?
The CSSys, there's settings for your processor and your events and action users. So you basically set that to an admin user. Otherwise, those two processes won't fire off.
Okay, they said thank you. All right, yeah. If you guys want to either raise your hands or throw them down in the question box, we're happy to answer. We have the we have everybody on here for a wide span of information for you guys.
And remember, if you need assistance with anything, even those upgrades or whatever, please just reach out to us. And Jimmy Cooey can get back to you and arrange any time that you might need, things like that. So thank you again.
Yeah, and really quick, I wanted to mention on those, even if you wanted to do the SP upgrade on your own, even just letting us know, hey, this is when we're planning on doing it, so then we can kind of keep some schedules cleared in case you guys might need help with anything. We're always happy to help, even just guide you on any of that stuff. We never have a problem showing you guys how to do something so you can be self-sufficient. Just wanted to mention that.
Yes. So, yes, we are always here to help you guys. One of us here on our PeopleSense team will be available to help you guys any issues. Let's see.
The most important thing on an upgrade like that is if you do it on your own, make sure you back up your databases before you start, just in case you do run into anything. I have yet to encounter an issue, but it's always good to have the breadcrumbs to get you back to where you were.
Yes. And I know we've talked about this before. I believe when you guys do that, always make sure you got your backup too as well. So we'll give everybody a few more minutes, see if we have any more questions pop up. Jim, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, not really. Just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for really just joining us today. We always love the feedback on these user groups. However, we can help you guys out and make these topics good for you guys, we would love to be able to do that. So if you have any feedback or anything, I'll be sending out some follow-up emails to everyone that attended or everyone that signed up and didn't with kind of just the recording link. But please feel free to just let us know how we can improve this process and make this more valuable to your time. We would love the chance to make sure that we can do that for you.
Yes. So I'll give everybody a minute or two for the session to finish out. See if you guys have any more questions before we end for the day. And thank you to all of our presenters today. Thank you, consultants, for taking time out of what we know are your very busy days to come here and help us all with this. So thank you guys.
I also wanted to quickly mention as well as if you find yourself half an hour from now with a question, and I don't want you to lose sleep over it, just send me an email with any questions that you guys have, and we'll get those answered for you. Customers, prospects alike. It just however we can help you guys out, that's what we're here to do. So anything that comes up, please feel free to ask. There's no harm in asking. We're not going to charge you for asking a question or anything like that. So however we can help you guys, we're happy to do it.
Yes. And then also, if you guys have issues in the future, of course, you can go to our Made to Manage help desk on our PeopleSenseERP.com, or you can email our M2M support at PeopleSenseERP.com, and we will get you in touch with a consultant that can reach out and help you depending on what it is that you need. So again, thank you everyone for coming today. We will have this up and recorded. You can reach out to myself or Jimmy if you would like a copy to pass on to anyone on your team. And thank you for taking time out of your very busy day to be here with us. And if you guys have any suggestions for the one we do in the fall, please reach out to myself or Jimmy, and we would be glad to have a session on those topics. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you again, everybody. Jess, thank you again for all your hard work. Connie, Jimmy, Joseph, Ken, Susan, Ray, everyone who was on here. Thank you guys so much. And thank you. A big shout out to all of our customers. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest. Oh, hold on. We got a question. Nope. They said thank you. So, all right. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.